If life truly is what happens while you're doing other things, those other things can come to a screeching halt when life itself is interrupted. That's what happened to Rich Peverly in the midst of a game on March 10th of 2014, right here on the Stars bench. This is the story of a near tragedy, professionalism, and life's uncertain journey. This is Playing for Pevs.
Hours after retiring 9, the Dallas Stars get back to work, and it's Tim Thomas getting the start tonight with Kari Lehtinen on the shelf. It's the Stars and the Columbus Blue Jackets in a very important late-season game.
It was, really it just felt like a, normal type of game.
Just 2 days following the thrilling Mike Modano retirement ceremony, the Stars would face off against the Blue Jackets, where emotions would shift in an instant.
The first 5 minutes went pretty fast. I think they scored a goal, and it seems like the next few minutes, went by so slow.
And something's happening at the Dallas bench.
I think I actually had the puck crossed over the blue line. I just heard a lot of commotion coming from our bench and the play kind of stopping.
There seems to be an extreme situation at the Dallas bench. Stop the game.
I kind of looked back and wasn't really sure at first what happened. I thought maybe there was an offside or something, or too many men or something they were complaining about.
It is pandemonium and panic over there.
Rich had just come off a shift, and I don't think you'll ever forget, what happened. And, I called the next line, and within a couple seconds, Rich was slumped over on Chason and Jamie Benn.
Pevs fell just right into my lap, and I think we kind of knew right away that something was wrong.
My first instinct was he broke his leg or something, the way he just kind of buckled, and then we knew it was a lot worse than that. And after that, it was kind of just a panic.
I hopped over the bench, got a pulse on his neck. At that point, I knew he wasn't responsive.
We screamed for doctors, and I got up on the bench and screamed for a doctor. I knew our trainers were instantly on it.
Dr. Robertson, Dr. DeMiff came down immediately. Dr. Robertson was there in seconds, before Rich even was slouching over. He had grabbed his arms, I grabbed his legs. We immediately removed Rich from the bench and brought him to a triage area just outside the doors.
There was a lot of stick pounding and yelling, and the team bench was trying to get the attention of emergency medical personnel.
I just remember coming back to the bench and kind of seeing a lot of players in a big scrum, and you could see the concern on everyone's face. Just kind of started asking questions, what happened, and guys kind of let me know, and your heart just kind of sinks.
The two teams have actually come together. This thing has just come to a hushed halt here. An obvious grave situation.
Rich Peverly suffered a severe cardiac event, leaving him unconscious on the bench. The Stars medical staff immediately moved him into the hallway between the locker room and the ice surface. Behind closed doors, they began the process to revive him.
Dr. DeMiff was the first one to start CPR, probably within 10 seconds. Did his session, then traded out with Dr. Robertson. At what point EMS was already coming around. We were in communication.
Lindy and I were standing right there watching this, and I'll tell you, if anybody ever witnessed something where it was like nothing you've ever seen before, this was incredible.
Dr. Salazar, who is our emergency physician, was there as well, and between him and Dr. DeMiff, they decided to administer a shock, at which point Rich came through right away. Kind of, a little bit out of it, but knew somewhat where he was, to the point where he asked if he can go out there next shift. I mean, he's just programmed that way. Docs stabilized him. He was probably down, and I don't know the exact timetable, but several minutes, and then at which point we decided to put him on a board, get him to the ambulance, and ship to the hospital.
During this time, fans and media were trying to figure out exactly what was going on behind the closed doors.
You know, I think everybody in the building was puzzled. It was like, what happened? We were like that. Every fan that was in the building was like that. You saw a player get packed out of there, but nobody really understood exactly what went on.
I was posted between the benches, between the Dallas Stars benches to my left, the Blue Jackets to the right. It was very quiet because the doors were closed, the players were quiet, the building was quiet, and it was really a wait and see and hope for the best moment. And the temperature of that moment of not knowing was just something that it was sickening.
If you're just joining us, there was some serious concern at the Dallas bench. Rich Peverly is the only player not accounted for on the Dallas bench. I figured it was Rich. I figured that he had had some sort of heart problem and that they were working on him as quickly as they could. We all knew what was happening, but we couldn't speculate, even though we had counted the bodies and added up what numbers were there, and by the process of elimination, we had figured out it was Rich. We had to be very careful and get the go-ahead from our truck.
It hits home with you as a conduit to the people that are listening or watching on television, that you have to give them information, but you have to have it right. And as you're waiting to be correct, there's a ton of silence.
The communication between Ralph and Razor and myself was that, you know what, guys, we don't know what has happened, and let's just lay back and wait. And I just remember saying into their earpieces, silence is okay.
It really felt like just long stretches of silence, but really we didn't have anything to go on.
This is just a stunning, serious circumstance.
It was one of the worst moments I've ever had.
Clearly, everyone is very shaken up.
Everyone kind of felt it in a different way, but it was a pretty scary moment.
Lindy came back through the doors because he went through there and was with Rich when they were administering the emergency care to him. When he came back through and looking at his face, he looked white, he looked weathered, and looking at all of Rich's teammates, I thought we'd lost Rich Peverly. I really did.
I don't think you'll ever forget the look on some of those guys' faces. When we discussed whether we were going to restart this game, or in that discussion I had with Jamie, and Jamie saying, there's no way I can play the game anymore.
It became very evident, especially talking to Lindy Ruff, the head coach, that this game couldn't continue. They were really shaken. Their room was shaken. Lindy was really shaken.
The Columbus Blue Jackets are going off the ice.
John Davidson, the president of hockey operations, pulling his club out their exit or entrance, and the Stars are going to go off the ice that way too.
As both teams went back to their locker rooms and the arena sat in silence, team management and league officials in Dallas, Toronto, and Florida discussed whether or not to postpone the game.
I reached out to Colin Campbell, who was in Florida at one of our general managers meetings. Gary Bettman was there, Bill Daly was there, the general managers of both clubs involved. We were able to all get them in a circle, if you could picture, with me explaining to them through a cell phone what I was seeing on the ice.
We were in contact with the league and in contact with people in Dallas, and in the end we came to the conclusion that due to the situation we just had to cancel the game.
Everybody got on the same page that we had to find a way to get through this, let the fans know properly so we can get everybody out of the building, get everything taken care of, and then move on.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's game between the Dallas Stars and Columbus Blue Jackets has been postponed. Rich Peverly remains conscious and continues to be treated. Updates on Rich Peverly's condition will be made as soon as they become available. Please keep Rich Peverly in your thoughts and prayers.
As the arena emptied, players inside the Stars locker room received news that Rich was in stable condition.
You know, I think once we got word that he was kind of alert and doing okay and he was all under control, that, you know, we all kind of were able to, you know, breathe a deep sigh of relief.
The team held an impromptu press conference to give details on exactly what had happened.
I think the press conference afterwards helped a lot.
What I know so far is he slumped on the bench. He was brought back to the hallway for treatment, where we treated him for a cardiac event, successfully treated with standard therapy. As soon as we treated him, he regained consciousness. He was alert and awake, talking to us after the event, and quickly transported to the hospital. He does have a pre-existing condition, and the condition that he has is abnormal quivering of the heart that does not allow him to send blood to places where he needs to in his brain and heart.
I thought the medical staff did an unbelievable job tonight. I mean, I was there firsthand. If it wasn't for our doctors and all the members reacting so quickly and so efficiently, I could be standing here with a different story, but they did an absolutely fabulous job.
Following the press conference, the Stars packed up and headed to the airport to travel to St. Louis, where they were playing the Blues in less than 24 hours.
It was like a zombie flight to St. Louis that night.
You know, the first thing I did as a coach was on the plane that night. I went back and I basically talked to almost every player because I knew how traumatic it was for me. I wanted to make sure they were okay. I wanted to make sure that, you know, it's okay to feel like this is just a game we're playing and we just dealt with a life and death situation. And I just wanted to, you know, make sure individual players were okay and where their heads were at, and it was okay to, you know, feel like, you know, the game isn't that important anymore.
You could tell that the individuals, it was life-changing for them. And, you know, obviously some of them didn't make it. Alex Chason went to the hospital, didn't even come on the trip. He was overcome with emotion.
Being on the plane after, it was just kind of shocking. Just had to keep him in your mind and pray for him.
Pevs actually sent out a text to the guys that night in a group chat, which was great. I think that relieved a lot of guys, you know, anxiety and stress about it. But at the same time, you know, we were still extremely concerned about him. My personal experience with that was couldn't sleep. I must have laid there for a couple of hours and then got back out of bed and went to sit in the chair for a bit. Just, I mean, you're in a hotel room, so there's not much to do. And, actually, I got a text message from Alex Golgoski asking if I was still awake, and I told him, of course, you know, how are you supposed to sleep? And so he came over to my room, and you know, we sat and talked about everything for a good half hour, 45 minutes before, you know, finally feeling like we could, you know, get some rest and try and get some sleep and prepare for the next day. And
tired and weary, the Stars held a team meeting and morning skate at Scottrade Center, where the emotional group addressed the media.
I mean, I was right beside him there when it was all happening, and you know, Pevs has been pretty much in every memory I have in my pro hockey career here so far, getting traded from Atlanta my first year in Boston, and you know, sitting beside me every game in Boston, and then over here and winning the cup together. You know, it's gonna be weird
playing here without him.
Our thoughts and prayers are obviously going out to him and his family at this time. And, as his teammates, we're trying to support him as much as we can and hoping for a full recovery.
We're very thankful that he's fine and he's going to make a recovery. And as a group, I think it's best for us to get going and play and try to get this behind us.
You know, we're still in a big playoff race, but you know, I guess we'll be playing for Rich tonight.
When the Stars returned later that evening, they faced the daunting task of playing the NHL's top team.
I remember thinking, we don't have a prayer.
I think the good thing about hockey is, you know, you're kind of all in it in the same situation, and you know, you can lean on the guy left to you or the guy right to you.
I remember before the game, just kind of saying to the guys, and you know, we were all in on it, that you know, we had a job to do. We had a hockey game to play, but we were going to play it for Pevs, and I think it really brought our team, you know, that much closer.
We had an excuse to lose, but we needed a reason to win, and we have to find a reason to win for Rich because, you know, he fought hard, you know, to make it.
There wasn't much to be said that night. They just went out and played, and it wasn't about, you know, even systems or coaching or anything. It was just them going out and playing. You know, I think everyone just played with him in their hearts.
The shot scored, Pietrangelo.
Midway through the first period, the Blues jumped ahead, but the Stars' resolve would appear later in the frame.
I guess when 20 guys, you know, were, you know, carrying something a little extra and motivating them, you know, it can push you.
Goligoski, a shot, save Miller, rebound, score! Colton Sevier, and the game is tied at 1.
You always want to win for your teammates, and that game was big for us. We wanted to win for Richard.
Backus, man on the pass. Ben trying to chip it and go. He's got Roussel with him, finds him. He's got a step on Backus. Roussel, a shot. He scores! Antoine Roussel gives Dallas a 2-1 lead.
Led by Tim Thomas, the Stars would hold the Blues in check until midway through the third period.
Score! Roman Polo!
When they scored on a scramble, eventually sending the game to overtime.
Rich wouldn't want us to sit around with our heads down. He'd want us to play hard for him, and we definitely rallied around Pevs.
Entering the extra session, the Stars had lost 8 straight post-regulation games. But on this night, the outcome would be different.
Sagan blazing in across the line at the other end. It's really a 3-on-3 here now, and Daly took it back to the net. Center net, shot for Ben, he scores! How about that?
Those are moments that, you know, you can't coach, you can't teach.
You know, we came together as a group and stuck together and found a way to win that game.
For us to go into that rink and come out with a win, and I don't think we were really supposed to. It just kind of showed the passion of the team and the personalities that we had, and for everyone to come together, it was a good feeling.
For that team to even compete the next night after what they had gone through, it was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen.
Good choice. When the Dallas Stars play, there's one guy you can't stop watching, Tyler Sagan. And this Addy Zero jersey from Adidas is the perfect way to celebrate this 4-time All-Star. Designed with tougher, lighter materials, it'll make you a winner like Tyler every time you wear it.
Sold. Thanks, Tyler Sagan. I'll wear it every game. I'll watch you wearing it, and I'll be wearing it. Twinsies. Twinsies.
Get your authentic NHL gear at shop.nhl.com, as official gets.
Over the next few days, Rich received an outpouring of support from the Stars organization and other players around the National Hockey League.
Well, I think everybody within our organization in Dallas was very quick to respond, and I had numerous people come visit me in the hospital. You know, it was a very emotional time, but everyone being supportive like that made my wife and my family feel a lot better.
Yuri Fisher, who suffered a similar incident back in 2005, reached out to Rich to lend support from his life-changing experience.
We chatted a couple times on the phone, and I was really glad to hear when he opened up that he was doing okay, and no matter how hard it is, he's a strong guy.
To have somebody to not necessarily talk about what happened to you, but kind of how to move forward and how to move on with life, I think that was very important for myself and again for Natalie, my wife, and to have kind of a sounding board over there as well with Yuri was very, very nice.
Although Rich was not medically cleared to play after the incident, he began working alongside the coaching staff while keeping in shape for the possibility of a return to the ice.
I reached out to many doctors, and I wanted to see everyone's point of view on what was wrong with my situation. And I was going through a tough time mentally where my age and my family had been through a lot. Last summer, after my incident, a couple months after my incident, I lost my father. So it was a really tough experience, and it makes you really put life in perspective. And hockey's very important to me, but family is number one. And to be able to take my time, finding out exactly what I needed to do. I tried to exhaust every avenue to play. I worked out hard every day, and just to give myself that chance if that was something I wanted to do. Unfortunately, you know, some doctors had said that it just probably wasn't a good idea to try to move forward and play. And it took a while, but I came to grips with that, and you know what, I'm really happy I did. I'm really enjoying my role right now as a player development for the Stars, and I don't have any regrets about playing. I miss the camaraderie with the guys, and I miss, you know, the competitiveness, but from a day-to-day life, you know, I'm really happy, and you know, I'm really happy to be home and be a father and husband, and going forward, it's been a lot of fun so far.
After officially retiring as a player in September 2015, Rich is now focused on succeeding in his new role as Director of Player Development with the Stars, and is committed to raising awareness about cardiovascular conditions.
You know, I've been through a lot personally, and there's been other families that have gone through more than what I've gone through with heart problems. I've reached out to families in Minnesota and in Ontario who have lost their sons or daughters to heart incidents while playing hockey. And you know, if there's a positive that I want to take out of this, is that, you know, I'm here and I'm a positive story, and I can be a father, I can be a husband. I want to move forward in my life. I don't like to look back, but we can take a positive out. And what we've done is we've tried to start a charity in Dallas where we're going to start a heart awareness night on March 12th and teamed up with the American Heart Association, and hoping that we can bring awareness to, you know, heart problems and finding ways to prevent these things, if it's screening or if it's defibrillator instructions, just things that we can do to help going forward. And you know, if we can keep this going, and maybe we can get the whole league to jump on our backs and do this, and I think it would be great for us and for the team and for the American Heart Association.
It is said that every exit is an entrance to somewhere else. And where Rich Peverly now finds himself is in a way where he's always been: happy, humble, and eager to make a difference. He's getting behind several heart-related causes, including the American Heart Association, and he's forming his own charity, Pevs Protects, in his hometown of Guelph, Ontario.